quick. Amar, come on over. Um, my name is Jahmeer Rynolds. I'm the founder and executive director of MCCT, or the Marin County Cooperation Team. Before we get started, welcome to our zone meeting number 60. Before we get started, this young man is actually my nephew. This is Amar. I made up a day. It is called Bring Your Nephew to Work Day. As soon as we got in the office, he didn't even get a chance to sit down. I said, Shannon, put him to work. And so we can all give him a round of applause for joining us. All right. And he has on brand new shoes. So if you see him walking like a duck, it's because he doesn't want to put the crease in them. All right, go ahead and get you something to eat. All right. Again, before we get started, I always like to start off with a quote. And we have some people in our midst who are going through some things. And so this quote is about not being scared about the future, okay? It is our very fear of the future that distorts the now, that could lead to a different future if we dare to be whole in the present. So whatever that you're going through, whatever that you're facing, you feel like something is waiting on you. It is always the darkest before the dawn. It is our very fear of the future that distorts the now, that could lead to a different future if we dare to be whole in the present. We can't predict the future. Let's be in the moment. Let's love on one another, and everything, I promise you, because he said it, will be all right. Right? So again, just thank you. Real quick, we have some introductions. Of course, they're going to be presenting. We actually have a big powerhouse in the building today. We have the United Way Bay Area in the building with us, and so we really appreciate you all joining us. Can we give them a hand, please? The United Way as an entity itself is a well-respected nonprofit in various sectors, and we're just really appreciative of you guys coming across the bridge, come kicking it with us in Marin County. We're real formal here. Real quick, do we have any community announcements?
Is Mary Lisa on?
Exactly. You better not show up, Mary Lisa.
I know she does though, not at home.
You better not show up, Mary Lisa. Watch, she gonna be random. Any community announcements? Anything?
Paul has his hand up.
What's up, P?
What's going on? How you doing? I'm gonna drop this flyer in the chat. But on June 8th, I'm doing a field cleanup day as we get prepared for summer. The field right here in Marin City, right on the corner of Drake and Pacheco by the garden. We're going to be doing a cleanup from 9 in the morning to 1 p.m. So we're going to need volunteers with their weed whackers and everything else to kind of knock some of this grass down so we can be ready for the summer.
Oh. The field right by the garden, Drake and Pacheco, not too far from his house.
Saturday?
Yes. You said Saturday, right, P?
Yeah, June 8th.
June 8th.
Saturday,
June 8th.
We got 2 weeks.
All right. Any other community announcements?
I think they're doing Marin City preparedness on that same day.
Okay. All right. Well, if they're doing Marin City preparedness, how long they gonna be out there, Paul?
From 9 to 1.
All right. So if you could get out there, please do. Let's continue to support Play Marin and what they're doing around, sports and socialization, which our kids really need. We know the pandemic did a number on not only us, but our children. And so, let's just get out there and fellowship. Is there any more announcements? Okay. Yesterday, I did my thing on the grill. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Right? Frank taught me how to cheat on beef ribs. He taught me how to cheat. All right. But yes. I had a great function at my house. It was fantastic. All right, Elaine. We have disaster preparedness June 8th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in Rocky Grant. So that means you can go an hour before and an hour after, and, you know, right down there to Paul, you know, to help them out. So we got you, P. Real quick, if we have any new people in the room, please give your name, your organization, and what brings you to this work. Yeah, Claire, why are you scared to raise your hand?
Hi everyone, my name's Claire. I work with the United Way Bay Area.
A little louder, Claire.
What's that?
A little louder.
A little louder? Oh, you want me to hold that? A little. The mini mic. What brings me to this work? I mean, for me, it's all about people and love. I'm just here because I want to make a difference and dismantle systems that hurt and oppress people and make sure that we all can thrive. And I've heard so many great things about all the CRTs and especially this one. So I'm super happy to meet you all and be here today.
All right, all right.
Hello, good morning. I'm Melissa, also with United Way Bay Area. There? Oh, there. I was like, where? I am doing this work because of my family. My parents immigrated from different countries to the Bay Area and didn't have much. And so I understand what it's like to be part of communities that need each other and that are there for each other. And I want to be part of that now. So
All right.
that's what I'm here for.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You get a mic back to Curtis, and I will take the speaker. All right, so whole production. So the question that I told you guys I was going to ask is this is going to determine if you're invited back to the picnic. All right. So, Claire, do you put raisins in your potato salad? All right, you're coming back.
No, I do not.
Okay, all right then. All right, we love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. And they do. I'm telling you. No, you don't. You see my face? No, you don't. Yes, on site. So, all right. So, you know, we did, you know, the new people. We don't have any other announcements. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speak briefly about why United Way Bay Area is here. We all know that civilization existed because there was an information exchange. We know that families migrated to different places because of information exchange. One of the things that really stunts the growth of Marin County is the hoarding of information and access. We believe here that we can go farther together. We have learned, because the pandemic forced us to come together and share how to get over or through this thing called COVID. And I see the value in partnership. And this is why the United Way Bay Area is here. They are on a mission to get this thing up and running about information exchanges. It's not always going to be bad. It could be about grants. It could be about resources. It could be about other opportunities. But we have to be willing to come to the table and share. That's why it's called an exchange. So today, we hope that this monologue turns into a dialogue and we can really build out this information exchange. And with that being said, I would like to invite up from United Way Bay Area, Ms. Claire Marcus. Curtis, boom the mic. Here you go. It's professional.
Yeah, this is.
Clip it, clip it. There you go. Yep, she's good to go. All right.
Okay, is that good? Cool. Well, it's nice to meet you all. So my name's Claire, and this is Melissa. We're with United Way Bay Area. Go to the next slide. So yeah, as Jahmeer was saying, I'm really here to talk about a community information exchange and what's possible with that model, but I'll also tell you a little more about United Way, why we're here, and then want to open it up for discussion because we are really hoping to collaborate and partner with you on this and other projects and start doing things differently. Go to the next slide. So some of you may be familiar with us. We're a regional organization. We're in 8 counties. I put this map. It's kind of everything you think of as a Bay Area except Sonoma. Our partners over at United Way Wine Country are in Sonoma County, but we all work together. And then this is our vision statement. So we really envision a Bay Area where all people have opportunities and resources needed to thrive. And we are all about mobilizing agencies, people, communities, and doing whatever we can to align our projects for synergy and impact. Our motto is Live United, which you see on my shirt. Anything we can do to depolarize spaces and come together is what we're all about. All right, next slide. Thank you. So I am the director of 211, and that's our 24/7 call center. So at 211, we help connect people to free and low-cost health and human services. We offer this in Marin and all the other counties that we're part of. And these are the websites of the various Bay Area 211s that you can check out. 211 is not a perfect resource and definitely needs some love and attention, especially here in Marin. So that's something I'd love to also partner with you on. I think there's so much potential, and I know a lot of the CRT work revolves around emergency preparedness and making sure that we are ready in the face of disaster, and this is something I think 211 can play a huge role in. So among other things, but that's something I'm hoping we can work on together. Slide. So just a history of 211, the program I work on. So we started in 1977 as a helpline, primarily focused on serving unhoused residents in the San Francisco area. That has since evolved. In 2004, we became the official 211, and that's the program that you see today that's still growing and evolving. Great, and then if you're interested, you can see all of our 211 data. It's a public commodity. So if you want to see like why are people calling 211 in Marin City, or what are the biggest needs in San Rafael, or whatever you might be interested in, you can see all of that on our website. So feel free to check that out. And if you have questions on data, you can ask Melissa or I. We love talking about it. All right, next slide. Oh, and this is just a plug. We know that 211 needs some love and work, so we have a survey coming out that's open to everyone in the Bay Area, and we're going to do a lot of pushing the messaging out in Marin especially. So hopefully by the end of June, the survey will be live, so we'll share that out. And right now it takes about 2 minutes to fill out. We're trying to keep it as simple as possible, and we'll have a $10 gift card for anyone that completes it. So more to come on that later. Great. So today, the topic that we're really here to talk about and pick your brains about is the Community Information Exchange, or CIE. Can you just raise your hands? Is this a concept that you've heard of or are familiar with? All right, we've got a couple here. But for most of you, this is a new concept? Okay, awesome. So Community Information Exchange can seem complex. However, it's really just a combination of these various things on the screen. So I know that's hard to see, but community is the most important word here. So for community information exchange to exist, there has to be a community governance structure. There has to be people with lived experience, people who are most impacted by our healthcare systems, our social services systems, that are actually making decisions, informing the process, and leading the work. So if you don't have that, you don't have a community information exchange. I would argue that's hands down the most important piece. A resource database. So 211 often serves as a resource database for a community information exchange, but it doesn't have to be 211. It can be any, really any resource directory. So I know here we've got like CAM has an amazing resource directory. Vivalon, there's the Here For You, the Youth Resource Directory. There's a whole bunch. So my dream is that we come up with a system where we can integrate all of those and make sure that we know every free and low cost resource that's available here in Marin. Individual care coordination or referral experts. So these are the humans that have the expertise. They know how to navigate the systems. They know how to help people get to the right resource, and they know how to document barriers, right? So if maybe a resource exists, but someone has to drive 20 minutes or more to get there, they don't have a car, maybe there's not folks that speak the same language. I mean, there's so many barriers. I'm sure you all know of many of them. So the humans that really help our community members get access. And then the closed loop referral. So this is something we hear about a lot, like being pushed down from the state via CalAIM or other programs. So it's using a tech platform that helps us close the loop. So right now, if you call 211, for example, the burden is really on the caller, right? They call us, they say, hey, I really need food, I need shelter. And so we're gonna say, okay, you can go to CAM and get emergency food. You can go to this shelter and get this. But after that call, it's on them to then go and find those resources. And we'll call them back and see, you know, were they able to access it? But most of the time they don't answer our follow-up call. And so we don't have good data on that. So it's not a closed loop system, and it puts the burden on the individual or the community member. And then of course, you know, the foundation of this really needs to be on health equity and anti-racism. We all know the systems as they're currently designed are extremely discriminatory, and we need to really shift that. So the Community Information Exchange vision and in action is really around helping dismantle those systems. Next slide. This is pretty much what the other slide just showed, but it's a different visualization. I know it's impossible to read this, but if you want to check this one out later, you can look at the slide deck. This is from 211 San Diego. They're one of the first 211s in the country to come up with this model. And so this is just their way of showing it. And then on the next slide, you'll see just various resources if you're interested in learning more about like, what is this model? How did it start? Where did it come from? These are websites here. And then these three are Google Docs that United Way Bay Area, we actually put together. So the Marin CRT Exploration Charter, that's a document that shows like, what are our core values, our operating principles, what's our vision, how can we partner on this? So please check that out. And then the journey document, that's like on the history of how did United Way Bay Area get involved in this, but also how we've been kind of exploring this work for the past several years. And then there's a podcast series too in English and Spanish if you like listening to stuff. Yeah, Curtis.
I have a question. I'd like
Yeah.
to, if possible, we'll go back up 2 slides that close the system right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the community, the database, individual calls for care. Is this the part you're looking for help with? How do we, I'm asking because like, I know that from personal experience, way back when, calling to get help with reading, right?
Yeah.
The whole situation. So are we looking to help you close that? So like, if I call for services, and what's the next step? I mean, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you're saying that you're not answering the call when you call back. So what's the thought on that? Because that's a big problem for everyone.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of services they are. So
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, really, we're looking for help on all of these, right? We want to partner with all of them. This piece, the individual care experts and the closed loop, I think that is very much in my world as 211. So yes, if you have ideas on how can we better close that loop, I would love to work with you on those. So we've noticed by doing text message follow-ups, we'll get like a 12% success rate of people responding to us. But when we just call, it's like 1%.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe there's ways to like send a text that we're going to call you, or even some people maybe like old school mail. But yeah, or maybe it's like, maybe it's not 211 calling back. Maybe it's a trusted community partner. Yeah.
So the thing where I'm going to, and I'd love to hear what the group has to say, is like one of the toughest things when we are trying to help organizations is that first point of contact.
Yeah.
So when I call that 211 line, whomever I'm speaking with, that's the key to it. If that person is open and, hey, I'm here to help you, don't want to shame anyone, I feel like that's the key to it. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I called up to get literacy help, that first point of contact is what kept me from running away, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this person made me feel like, okay, I care about you, right? So does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So should we test it out? Like,
Please.
as MCCT, should we call 211
Yeah.
to see how that first point of contact is?
Oh yeah, I would love that. And so Melissa and I listen in to live calls all the time. And we have like a system kind of to rate call specialists or give them feedback. But so yeah, you could all do that. We'd love feedback on how the call goes, how if they're welcoming, if you feel included and valued, cared for. Yes, exactly. And then on the resources that they provide as well, like maybe they give you incorrect information, or you're looking for something else.
I'd love to hear what other folks say, because I don't want to suck all the oxygen out of the room. It's that first point of contact. If he, she, or they say to me, if I'm calling up, like, okay, Curtis, so can I reach back out to you in a week? Would you be receptive to that? That might be very important.
Yeah.
We ask, hey, can we reach back out to you, see how it's going? Or should I call you tomorrow to make sure you're, not like this golfer who pulled out of the golf this weekend and went home and killed himself, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we need to, as a loving community, Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
I love what you've got here. I just worry about that piece right there, the microphone.
Yeah. No, and this is actually, I feel like this is where United Way Bay Area and 211 we have a little bit of influence. These other pieces, it's going to take a much bigger collaboration and some systemic change to put this into action. Cool. I think you can jump down to that one there. So what a CIE is not, this is really important, because this is like becoming a buzzword, at least in the healthcare sector. So a lot of times technology platforms will market themselves as a CIE. So some of you actually may be part of, there's a Unite Us pilot here that does closed loop referrals, and there's a range of organizations, but I know a probation department's really involved. It's an awesome system. It's a free software. It's totally worth checking out and seeing if it's the right fit. It is not a CIE. That is a technology solution that may or may not help. So I just want to make that distinction. A CIE does include technology, of course, but going back to being grounded in community, we really believe that community members should select the technology. It should not be a top-down thing from the state or from an individual organization. And community members should not only be able to select the technology, but also have control over how is their data shared, how do they revoke that sharing, and then how do we inform it as the technology grows or changes. And then closed loop referral system, I mean, same thing, it's also a technology, but I know if any of you are working in the CalAIM space, this is becoming a requirement for a lot of our organizations to have a system like this. That's great, but again, that's not a CIE, right? That's just a technology piece. So our hope with the Unitas pilot and some of the other systems that are being used in Marin County and beyond is that we can integrate and have them be interoperable so that they're all talking to each other, and that we're not putting the burden on caseworkers and social workers and the frontline folks, and making them use multiple systems that don't talk to one another. All right, go to the next slide. I know I'm running out of time, so I'll cruise through these really quick. This is just our United Way's vision of like what would it take to actually make this possible. So you can see it's not just a magic bullet where we say, okay, we got a technology, we have this new system, it's going to work for everyone. We know that, I mean, this says six months. We've been doing this for 2 years, just talking to community partners throughout the county and the region. We're looking at this all throughout the Bay Area. Like, does the community even want a solution like a community information exchange, right? So kind of exploring what folks feel about that. And then really spending 1 to 2 years just designing, how is that community governance structure is gonna look? Who really will hold power? Who's missing from the conversation? And how do we shift that? And then you get into co-design and initial implementation. We love our neighbors in Sonoma. They have a really cool model called Sonoma Connect or Sonoma Unidos that we believe is really grounded in community. So they're a model that we have looked to when we think about what's possible in Marin and other places. And there's some other good examples throughout the state as well. I actually worked on a project like this in Monterey County called the Monterey Active Referral Network, and had a lot of learnings there where we tried to be top down. We designed a software and came in and we're like, you can use this, it's free, it's great. And our community partners were like, this doesn't integrate with the HMIS system I use, or this doesn't integrate with this other system I use. So we had to pause, do some fundraising, and then we provided grants to every nonprofit to say, can you just for a year pilot this system, give us feedback, help us redesign it. And now it's about 4 years later, almost every nonprofit in Monterey County is using that system or using another system that can talk to it. So we know that this takes time, and whatever the decision is, even when we select a technology and have a governance structure, it's still going to need to evolve. We're not going to get it right on the first try. All right, next slide. And again, this one you can check out later. This just kind of breaks it down. What's possible with the CIE at the individual level or the family level. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. It's really about flipping the system on its head and not putting the burden on the individual. The burden is now on us as a network of care providers to reach out and meet people where they're at. And then at the agency level, it's really around system efficiency and making, hopefully reducing the workload on our frontline staff and folks that are in service to community. And then at the macro level, and this is where 211 San Diego has done an amazing job, it's around using that community data that we collect through this system to really advocate for policies and different resources to lift up what the community needs are and how we can meet them. This was part of our Marin CIE exploration meetings. We came up with shifts, like where are we currently and where do we want to be? Yes?
Are you already thinking about updating? I was involved in creating 211 in Valdosta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
And even if we got it done, the problem was the updating because social services are notorious for in and out, changing whatever. So have you thought about that, or is that involved in the design of collection?
Yeah, well, I think the community here has to decide, like, will 211 be the main resource database, or do we want it to use a different database and have it inform? So we have to make that decision together. But yes, at 211, we're already exploring ways to how do we make the verification of data as easy as possible. So we haven't done anything with AI, but we're currently looking at a lot of systems. Like if a social service website makes a change, we could at least be notified. And still a human on our resource team would need to check, like, is this a real?
AI is not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're actually going to have some call the number.
Yep.
Yeah,
and so
active if people are there. I mean, that was the biggest problem. Getting the initial thing up and running was the problem. It's just the continual updating and getting the resources and having resources for that was the important part, right?
Yes.
Not just the uploading, actually doing that. So I was thinking whether you guys had a plan or thought through or thinking through that, because that was our biggest problem.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And we at 211, we have a team, they're called our resource maintenance team. That is their sole job, is to, like you said, pick up the phone, make those calls, send emails. We try in every case to never make an update from a website, but to actually do it through human to human contact. And that's one thing we're trying to give feedback to our partners at Unite Us or other platforms where it's on an agency to update their resources, but then they could update it once and then a year or two later, that information could be completely incorrect. So it's not a perfect system, but at 211, to stay in our database, all resource information has to be verified a minimum of once per year. If it's not verified within that year, we deactivate it so that we can't make referrals to it. It's not perfect because a year is a long time, but that's one of our safeguards. And then I would love to chat more about other ideas you have or others, because yeah, if we're giving out bad information, it completely defeats the purpose. Great, you can go to the next slide. And then, yeah, so this is really why Melissa and I are here, and we want to keep coming back. How can we partner on this? How does this relate to your work? What questions do you have? We are constantly applying for funds to help really build out this community planning work. We recently applied for the Path Cited grant, which is through CalAIM. It's like a whole other language. It took me, I still am learning what it all means, but we'll find out in September if we got that. So that would be great to kind of help do a lot more community planning. But if not, we're going to continue to work on this, either way. So yeah, is there anything that you would like us to bring back to our colleagues at United Way Bay Area, or when we're in these conversations with other counties or with the state? Is there anything you want us to make sure we're lifting up from South Marin or anywhere else? Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm understanding the whole process correctly, but it sounds like you guys give out the resources, and then it's the person's job to contact them.
That's how 211 works right now. Yeah.
Point, yeah. And I just think, it's an issue of budget and capacity and everything, but having that hand holding in between those two steps of like, you're on the line with them and you call, or just like that seems to be a missing link, that particularly when you're in a situation where you need help and it's all just given back to you, it seems really, really overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Yep.
So in terms of that, you might want to check out Marin CRT, which is Mayor Lisa's organization, because their whole thing is warm handouts. So
yeah,
and maybe something can be done with that, because that is an issue, right? It's how do you get them to do that? That's the biggest issue of running the room, is getting people to the next step.
Yep.
So that's an organization you might want to check out.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
what they're for, and they've got volunteers.
Okay, great. Point. Like, how do you learn about an organization like Mayor Lisa's or MCCT that's relatively new, besides like word of mouth? Is there a way in which you can tap into newly created nonprofits in Marin County, or how do you track that? Because we have a whole safety net services program. I'd love to talk to you more about in terms of a resource that you could include.
Yeah.
And it's folks from this community that would interact, with community members in the warm handoff way and things like that, and really have the lived experiences necessary to support folks. So I just wasn't sure how you learn about more.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's meetings like this. It's our community partners. I think as a regional organization, I think that's one of our weaknesses, maybe, because we're all over the place. So we maybe don't have as big of a presence. Yeah. Whereas when I was at United Way Monterey, it was just a one county United Way, one county 211, so it's much easier to track. Yeah.
The other thing is, again, I was working in a rural context, but I think it might happen here. Don't underestimate how agencies can take advantage of this, right? It's not just people, right? Because someone like Ida might call you and say, I know what my people know, what others are there. And that ended up, in the long run, being a very big amount of customers that use 211. Because don't assume that we all know what each other's doing.
Yeah.
If you could find that space where you become the resource to agencies too, it really would be helpful. And funding-wise, that's the space that ended up being the biggest funders for us, right? Because all the organizations didn't want to keep trying to figure out resources, and all the people who work on the front lines began to use them as the go-to to give you the broadest possible answers. Because in their own agencies, I can't do this, but I can find somebody who can.
Right. No, and that is really the dream. That's a dream for 201, but that's what a community information exchange is at its essence, is really about. It's making it easier on everyone involved, so that they know how to access services or who to give the handoff to.
But it's a good funding source too, to go to agencies and say, this is give us a little money to help do this network.
Yeah, and I think we have a new website coming out, because our current 201 Bay Area website is not the easiest to use. So that should be live next month, and we would love to, host listening sessions or feedback sessions to get your thoughts or any of your partners' thoughts on how to make that more accessible. And then, yes, feel free to call 211. We get caseworkers all the time saying, I'm calling on behalf of my client. You can reach out to Melissa or myself with anything. We want the feedback, negative, positive, whatever it is, because that's why we're here, right? To make this a better resource. So thank you.
Are we going to continue the conversation here, Claire? That's the goal?
I'd love that. Okay. Yeah.
Part 2.
Up to you all.
3 or 4. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
Tech pieces here.
I know, this is great.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for saying that, because I was going to ask again. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, so my name is Shannon Bynum. I am the community liaison for the Marin County Cooperation Team. Let me just start by saying it's a pleasure to come after you because one of the things that I want to do is ground us in community engagement. A lot of our work is exactly that. So just putting it in perspective before we go further in, I would like to do that. So engagement with the community requires that not only the process, but also every action involved be done with integrity. This includes the initial discussions, the development of a process, and its execution. The main objective is to have a successful process and not just go through the motions of what it takes to get a box checked off. Next slide, please. So we'll be looking into and discussing Alert Marin and Nixle campaign. And so the purpose of it, if you haven't heard about it or know about it, the purpose is to have a high amount of our community residents sign up for alerts, emergency alerts in the area. So 3 things is bring information, provide access to resources, and to educate about emergency preparedness. As we notice, the green is very important. Just want to highlight that. Bring, provide, educate. That's our goal. That's the purpose. Next slide, please. Okay, so what to expect from Alert Marin? The Alert Marin side is to take action. So things that you can look forward to from the notifications come in various sources such as fires in the area, reported earthquakes, severe weather conditions, power outages near you, crime incidents that affect your neighborhood, instructions during a disaster. Now I just want to lift this because this is different from the Channel 5 news or any updates that you get of the worldly news. This is more concentrated on the community that you're involved in. So this is different than just any of the updates. That's why it's important. Next slide, please. All right, so just like we discussed on the Alert Marin side, this is what to expect from the Nixle side. So it's a more of a be aware approach. So things like general public safety information alerts. You can sign up for alerts in multiple zip codes. Once again, I want to highlight, keep your eyes on the green, please. Sign up for alert in multiple zip codes. And if you have family members scattered throughout the Bay Area, it's sometimes good to make sure that their community is well taken care of and you have the alerts. Some of us may have elders in different places and we want to stay updated. So alerts may also include road closures, police activities.
Oh, I'm gonna pause 1 second. They lost your audio somehow. Does it look like it's live on yours? Oh.
Uh-oh.
Same here. Let's see. Both say anchor. Test it again, Jan. Let's see if
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
If you can see me, I can do hand motions then. No, I'm just saying.
No, not different. Okay, can you look at the red now?
Battery.
No, battery's at 100. I think it might just be. Hold, please. Get some food. Get some water. Yeah, so the way that it works is like this volume on Wi-Fi. It won't pick up everyone around the room. So you have to have
No,
I don't know at the moment.
because that's one of the issues we have in Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
of
we looked at
people
that.
have to have Wi-Fi in order for that to sell. Nixles, there's organizations that buy people like backup batteries for their modems because when the power goes out, they can't get the emergency. So I was just wondering if you have that happen.
I'll keep my ear out for it,
Yeah.
but as of right now, I haven't heard anything to that matter. How's my breathing?
Oh wait, I want to show you.
Everybody here now?
The sound weighted. Sound weighted.
Anybody hear us?
Thank you.
What if we disconnect and just use the?
No.
Maybe let them know that you're still working on it.
Yeah, I'm letting him troubleshoot it first. Type.
Okay, can everybody hear us now? I get a 1 in the chat if you can hear us.
Okay, so just
Okay,
come
there
over
we
here, Shannon.
Come
You
where?
gotta be close, or test it out again. Talk,
Okay.
I guess, from over there.
Hello, 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 hello.
Can you guys hear Shannon?
Thumbs up. Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, wonderful. Perfect. All right. So where would we leave off at? All right. So alerts may include from the Nixle side, road closures, police activity, missing persons. You don't have to look on the back of the milk box anymore. So just throwing that out there. Also, post-disaster information about shelters and transportation, where to go in case of a disaster. This is important. Text number for the Nixle side is 888-777. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so getting into the materials that are needed for outreach, we need flyers, of course, and I'd like to introduce our brand new flyer. Okay, everybody take a good look. I'm gonna pass these out after. And the reason and the difference between this flyer and this flyer is this one is Southern Marin tracked. Okay, so we're able to see that the organizations that we are partnered with are coming from, our alerts are coming from Southern Marin as opposed to just anywhere.
So if we have somebody that's signing up from San Francisco, it's still going to come give us credit.
It's our work.
Yes,
Right? So
our
it's
work.
not just Southern Marin. Like if you talk to someone in Northern Marin and you signed them up, cool. But the QR code links to our specific work as the
So
Southern
we're still
Marin
getting
CRT.
credit for the work that we're doing.
Correct.
No matter where the
Yes.
person is.
Because it was too hard for them to decipher, like, oh, these numbers increased in Southern Marin, but because of what, right?
Yeah.
Is it our outreach? Is it Elaine and layout and everything? So just want to make sure that we can track it specifically to our zone and our work.
Yes, a more targeted approach.
And every zone will have this, as Patty said.
Yes. All right, so also we have tracking sheets. Obviously, you'll need a pen, clipboard, a handy dandy name tag.
You left your mic here.
Uh-oh. All right, handy dandy name tag and a smartphone and or tablet if is necessary for the signups. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I've shown already, this is our new flyer, which is a specific QR code. Feel free to grab one. I have a few handouts as we leave. Next slide, please.
Before we move on, one thing that's really helpful about this too is what Shannon often talks about experiencing in the field, which is sometimes people are like, no, I don't have time to talk to you, see you later. But they'll take a flyer, right? And so if they take a flyer, that still will count towards our outreach numbers and all this other Marin CRT got this person to sign up a day later.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yep.
All right, so just a few questions, and then I want to do something different. So we are going to have a small activity where everybody's going to partner up, and we're going to spend about 2 minutes participating in role play of trying to get the other person to sign up. Now, this is just a role play, but if you can get somebody to sign up, please do it. So questions to ask, right? Have you ever heard of signing up for Alert Marin or Nixle? You can go through the motions of that. And are you registered or have you registered before in any of these? So these are just little icebreaker questions, and hopefully it encourages you to have a dialogue, right? So I want to take 2 minutes. I know I'm running out of time. Yes.
One thing that's important to remember is if a person says that they don't know, if they sign up again, they're not going to get multiple alerts.
Say that one more time.
You can sign up for Nixle 85 times on the same phone number. You're going to get one alert per zip code. So like, if you oops and you're not sure if you signed up before, if you sign up again and again, you're not going to get multiple alerts. You're just going to get the same one alert.
Right. I haven't ran into that yet, but yes, that's good to know.
And Elaine, go ahead.
Okay, so just to say that when you go onto the Alert Marin website, then on alertmarin.org, you can put in your email address. And if it says this email is already registered, you can just hit the forgot password and just, if you can't remember your password. So I think that was Maria who was adding about Nixle. So thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much.
I would just really stress that from a county perspective, we really want to get people signed up for Alert Marin, and it does take a little bit longer. It takes a few more minutes, but it's life-saving information.
Right.
So that's what I would really stress. And also, when you are on Alert Marin, you have the choice of what data you put in first, and I would recommend that you push people putting in their cell phone first, then their email address, and then a landline if they have one. But just push for the cell phone to be the first point of contact, please. I'll stop talking.
Thank you, Elaine.
Welcome.
All right. We may not even have time to role play, but I would like to see.
We can send the video out after, if that's what you prefer, to go through the rest. What do you think?
I have a quick
Yeah.
question. For the alerts, is there a specific part of the season or summertime or fire season when these alerts come out, or is it just like?
It's cycled up to date. So as soon as the alert come through, it'll go straight to your phone, no matter what season or time, I believe. Yes. And one thing I didn't add is you could.
Yeah, Elaine also said she could act orally.
What'd she say?
Sorry.
We know this is your world. Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry, I'm not there. So great question about seasons. So just to pay attention that as we come into the summer months and we go into high fire season, we'll start to see our county fire chief issuing red flag warnings, and that can come through Alert Marin. So yes, it could be any day of the week something could happen, but we know that between July and the end of October, we do have a higher risk of wildfire and also of air quality if smoke is drifting over from other counties and our air quality is being impacted. That's more likely to happen during the summer months. So great question, but as Leah said, it's just going to happen as it's needed.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we'll skip this next slide. Yeah. This was a video that was prepared just to give you some disaster risk reduction, but it's not linked at all anyway to Alert Marin or Nixle. Just want to give you a full disclosure on that. Just thought it might be a fun video to watch and be prepared as well, which also ties into being prepared. Next slide, please. All right, so the data on a new Alert Marin signups, we see from February 21st to March 25th, we have 108 total. So give a round of applause in the 94965. And 33% of adults have signed up. We are looking to raise that number to a 40% increase here shortly. So yeah, next slide, please.
Can we sign youth up?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky question. I think parents have to be.
Elaine, yeah,
Parents
I
have
think
to be
so.
involved.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Parents have to be involved if a youth wants to sign up, correct?
100%. If you've got somebody who is under the age of 18, you can't ask them to sign up, but if they're with a parent, then they can ask them to sign up. So we would love to be able to just go into the schools and grab everyone's cell phones and do it for them. But it's a real, and I think that especially as we've got so many children who have cell phones and we're going into the summer break, it's a great, like, if, you're looking for icebreakers and conversation starters, this can be like, check this box the first week of the summer vacation. Your kids are going to be separated from you. They may be like out and about with their friends. You want them to stay informed, or you may have kids that are leaving the home for the first time. They're going on to a college, or they're going on to work, a different work experience and environment. They need to have this. They really do. It's life-saving information.
And that's a great line to use.
Yes.
life-saving information.
Yes.
Thank you, Elaine.
Absolutely.
And isn't it worth taking 5 minutes
Right.
to give you that?
Yeah.
So, like, none of this, like, oh, I'm too busy. No, this is going to save your life. I mean, that's a really big, broad comment, right?
No, but it's real.
This will help you, give you information in a disaster.
Right.
Okay.
Just one thing that comes to mind is in preparation for these seniors that are could be 18 in school. I don't know if that's a strategy that we could lean on, but there are some 18-year-olds that are in high school, so maybe we can target
like
seniors.
I know that
graduation,
grad
nights.
to do that.
Say it again.
I have in the past asked the high school program at Bridge the Gap to, ask parents that come in and ask the 18-year-olds to sign up.
Yeah, that's a great strategy.
Yeah, and I think there's more that you can add for that as well. All of our kids, if they are graduating high school and going on to new chapters in their lives, they need to be disaster prepared. So it's not just about the alerts. It's about, having something in their car if they're moving into dorms. There's a much bigger campaign that we could work on here. And now is a great time as we're going into the summer months. So happy to continue having discussions about that and how we can just, work with the kids to get them more aware of maybe their new environment.
Definitely have a part 2 next meetings, especially if we can get to everything. But yeah, love that.
Have we thought about pushing towards colleges as well? Because, kids don't always be from the areas that they go to school in, especially from the out-of-state students. This may be something they didn't know, like, hey, welcome to California. A lot of trees.
Wildfires. Wildfires all the time.
Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
in this area.
Welcome, we got wildfires, we got
I didn't know until I moved back home how bad it would get even in Richmond. Like, everything we get in Richmond comes directly from this county.
Yeah.
During wildfire season. So, like I said, those out-of-state students, they're not going to know about that.
Yep.
And how often are their friends that's on campus? Oh, it's August. Real quick. It's going to be on fire.
If you want to get involved in one of our programs at Marin County Corporation Team, visit our website, marincountycorporationteam.org. We've got plenty of things that you can do to help make our community better, such as our garden program. See the kids here? They love it.
Just because you're diabetic doesn't mean you can't have delicious, great tasting food. And I'm going to show you how. Hi, I'm Curtis Akins, and as you may know, I'm a diabetic. And there are 2 myths we're going to tackle today. Now, the first myth is that diabetics can't have carbohydrates. Yes, they can. But you got to be careful how many you take in. The second myth is that diabetics can't eat fried foods. Well, I'm a Southern boy, and I love fried food, especially Mama's fried chicken. So why don't we make some of Mama's fried chicken today? Now, the key is portion control. What's a portion, you say? About the size of your palm, okay? Remember, that's an easy little visual. I want you to take a look at something. Now, follow me down here. You see this piece of chicken breast? Most restaurants, they call that a portion. About 3 to 4 ounces is a portion, okay? Now, let me show you how to take this one breast and make 3 portions out of it, okay? Here we go. Now, I'm gonna take and cut it right in half, like so, and take a look at that. Now, if the portions seem too large for you, you can always cut them down. Now, that looks like a nice little portion, probably about 3.5 to 4 ounces, the size of my palm. Isn't that beautiful? Now, this piece on the other hand, it's about the size of my palm, but look how thick it is. So what I'm gonna do is just butterfly that. Okay? Butterfly means to slice it through the middle, okay? You can take and slice that. Remember, all these tricks of the trade that the chefs know, we're gonna teach you right here. Remember, the fried food myth. The key is measuring. You don't have to deep fry it. I'm gonna pan fry this with about 3 tablespoons of peanut oil. And I'm using peanut oil today. Why? Because peanut oil not only has an incredible flavor, but it has a very high smoking point. In other words, you can cook at a high, hot temperature, okay? I've got a little flour and some herbs in here. I've got some dry tarragon, some rosemary chicken, doesn't that sound good? And I've got some oregano in this little bag. No salt. Why? Because diabetics, we don't need a whole lot of salt in our body because of that friction that salt causes in the bloodstream. But ask your doctor about that. I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on television. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I've got an egg white, not the egg yolk. I've whipped it up, aerated it, and I'm gonna add my chicken, just kind of coat my chicken into that egg white. Just kind of get everything in there and turn it over, my chicken portions, right? Then we're gonna take and drop that into our flour because the oil is getting nice and hot. This is not a big heavy duty coating, okay? What we're doing here is layer and flavor. Got a little egg white, no yolk, okay? Just the egg white, right? And I've got my flour with the different herbs, okay? If you wanted to add some curry, whatever you like, you can add to this. We're gonna drop them in, okay? 2 pieces. Gonna shake that up just a little bit. There's a little air in that baggie. There, shake it up. Then we're gonna add the other pieces, right? Just make sure everything gets nice and dusted, okay? So easy. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Now, the reason we use a peanut oil, do you remember? Nice high smoking point. It cooks our chicken quickly and the meat doesn't absorb that fat, okay? That's a good point I want you to remember, okay? Now let me show you this dusting of flour. Look how that egg white just holds. Isn't that gorgeous? So we're not deep frying, we're pan frying. Fried chicken. Not a whole lot of salt. In fact, no salt. Oh, that smells so good. Oh, I wish we had smell-o-vision. Myth number 2, pasta. Diabetics can have pasta. Again, I'm one of those knuckleheads that love pasta, okay? But remember, it's about portion control. Is that a portion? No. Is that a portion? No. That's a portion, right? That palm is a portion, okay? You want it to taste good. And then we're cutting out on the salt, cutting down on other. How do you do that? Well, I like to talk about layering flavors. Today with my pasta, I'm gonna serve onions. 1, 2, 3, 4 different onions and tomatoes over my pasta. So and remember, it's important to measure 1-2 tablespoons of oil in a non-stick surface. Non-stick is a great utensil for those of us who are trying to cut down the amount of fat that we cook with, okay? You gotta have fat, okay? Just like carbohydrates, the body needs fat. And let's face it, fat has flavor, but too much fat is not a good thing. Onions, when you slice them thinly, that helps to release the flavor. Thick pieces of onion takes longer to cook as well. Let's take a look at our pasta sauce, how it's coming along. Oh, the onions, tomatoes are really bad. Look at all the juices in there. Now, we're just about ready to add our pasta and the green onions. Add the green onions late because they don't take as long to cook, okay? So I'm just gonna put those right in there, okay? Stir it just a little bit because we want that spring green onion, that scallion flavor. Now look at that. Oh, so I'm gonna make kind of an opening in the middle to add our pasta. Okay, I've got my plate divvied up there. There's my pasta. That's about a portion, right? And I'm gonna add my chicken, fried chicken, right here. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm gonna serve that up. And what do you think? Does that look good? What a gorgeous meal, right? Carbohydrates, fried food, bust those myths. It's a great meal, healthy meal for diabetic or not, just good food.